Okay, so let's go over quiz A, just the regular side. So when I look at this, I have a story problem. Bill has to fix his plumbing. He asked two separate plumbers what their rates were to fix his sink. Plumbing Plus says they will charge him $65 just to come out to his house, and if they need to work on the thing, if they need to work on the problem, they will charge $50 every hour. So, right, so if they charge him, they're going to be coming out, and there's going to be one charge to show up at the house and another charge to work per hour once they get there. So the starting amount when they first get to his house is $65 just to come out, and then $50 for every hour. So if they stay for hours after they've figured out the problem working on it, they're going to charge more for that. So that rule, and this rule is going to be for Plumbing Plus, is y equals $50 every hour. So that's the one that gets multiplied by x plus $65 just to come out. That one only happens once, right? They only come to your house once, and then they charge you per hour to stay there. The other one is Swift Sink Repair. And Swift Sink Repair will charge $35 every hour and $95 to come out. So for Swift Sink, they are charging $35 per hour, so that is the one that goes next to the x, and then $95 to come out there. So we should have $35x plus $95. Those should be our rules. Let's see, I'm going to just make this a little bit easier to read. Just going to put it there and change this to plus 95. So these are our rules. Now, I know that Plumbing Plus's rule is y equals 50x plus 65, and I know that Swift Sink's rule is y equals 35x. Oh, you know what? Is 35x plus 95. I'm also going to move this down here. I'm going to do a different table for each one, and I'll shrink that in so that it fits in there nicely. And so these are the y values for both of them. So what is the x value here? That's the question. What is the x thing? In both of these, it says 50x and 35x. And if we look, it says 35 every hour and 50 every hour. So that 50, the x next to 50 must mean the hours. So if they come out for if they work on it for 0 hours, they're going to charge you $65 just to come out there. If they work 1 hour, it's going to be $50 more. So when this goes up plus 1 hour, this is going to go up plus 50 hours. And that would be 115. 2 hours would be 165. 3 hours would be 215. 4 hours would be 265. 5 hours would be 315, and we go on and on till we get done with our table. 415, 465. So if they were working out there for a full day, it's going to cost you $465 for them to be there. And then the other one, Swift Sink, their hours work a little bit differently. So when they're there for 0 hour, when they just show up at your door and they look at your problem, they before they've done any work on it, they're just going to charging you $95 to come out. So that sounds like more, but they're charging you less per hour. So as in 1 hour, their amount of money is only going up $35 each time. So this would be $130, and then in 2 hours it would be plus 35 more, which is $165, and then 3 hours is going to be $200, and 4 would be $235. So we can see that while they're more expensive at first, we see that at 2 hours they both cost $165, and then afterwards Swift Sink is less expensive. Swift Sink is growing by a less rate. So 5 hours is less work. 6 hours work is going to be less. 7 hours is going to be less, and it's just always less after 2 hours to go with Swift Sink. So I guess it depends on what your problem is, who you want to charge or who you want to pay here. Oops. I need to erase this 4. 375. Okay. So using the equal values method, I know that the rules are y equals 50x plus 65, and I know that the other rule is y equals 35x plus 95. And so when I want to find out when y is the same for both of them, so when is it 165? Like when is y going to be the same? So if I didn't already have this table and I needed to figure this out, I would say, well, the y's, when the y's are the same, these are the same. So I'm going to set my x part the same, and I am going to then solve it. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation. So if I take 35x away from both sides, I will have 15x left on this side and no x's left over here. And since I have all of my x's on this side, I'm going to take away all of my 1's from over here and then take the same amount away over there, and I will have 30, 0x and 30, and then 15x and 0. So now I need to get rid of this 15. It is being multiplied, so I'm going to divide by 15 and divide by 15, and I get x equals 2. So now I know, this shows me that x, which is my hours, these will be the same, the prices will be the same when I am at 2 hours. And so now I need to show what will the price be at 2 hours. So to show that, I'm going to take my rule, I'm going to rewrite it, but instead of x, I'm just going to write 2. So it's this rule, but with 2 for x. And then 50 times 2 is 100 plus 65. 100 plus 65 is 165. So when x is 2, y is 165. So when 2 hours passes, the cost is 165. And then on the other side, I have y equals 35 times 2 for x plus 95. So 35 times 2 is 70. And 70 plus 95 is 165. So my solution will be, so it's showing me again that both sides in 2 hours equal 165. So I know for sure my final answer is going to be in 2 hours. In 2 hours, both sides charge 165. So if I was to draw a graph of this, system of equations, then I would need an x-axis here, and a y-axis, a y-axis. That was a y-axis, not an x-axis, and an x-axis as well. I see that we're growing up in the like 50s and hundreds range here. So I might do something in the 25s or 50s. And I see, so let's see we're, here is 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and let's say this is 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 50, 75, 200, 250, or 225, 250, 275, 300. Okay, so I know that I can just look here and go at 0 hours, Plumbing Plus charges $65 for 0 hours of labor on your house, just to come look at it. So let's see if this is 25, 50, 75. It's going to be somewhere between 50 and 75. It's going to be right about there. Right about there. So I should label these really quick. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 50, 75, 100, 200, 300. It is important to label them, even though I said it out loud. Like if somebody else came by and read this, like how would they know what these numbers were? So it's really important to label your numbers. And then let's see, after 1 hour, we are at 115. So 1 hour here is a little bit more, see, just a little bit more than halfway between 100 and 125. And then 165 is going to be right about there. And 215 is going right off right about across here, which looks like it's right about there. And eventually you see the trend and you can just draw your line. So that is y equals, this one is y equals 50x plus 65. And then I have the other one, that one starts at 95, which is almost all the way at 100. And it goes up at 1 hour, it's at 130. So that's like right about here. And then the next one, it's 265, which is right there again. And when I draw my lines now, they should go through both of those points together. And my point of intersection is right there. Point of intersection is at 2 and 165. So it's really important to show that one of the things that a lot of students missed on these quizzes was these things didn't all match. But your answers should all match. If my tables show that they meet at 2 hours and $165, then my point of intersection should show the same thing, and my equation should show the same thing. So if you have on your quiz different representations, then you should go see why they're different and then pay attention to that. Maybe you missed the rules right at the very beginning. If you did, I tried to grade you on what it would have been if your rules were right. But otherwise, it's important that we just go look and see what sections were there, and which ones match and which ones don't. Yeah, and if they didn't match, that showed me something about sort of your understanding of how this works. Okay, so go check your work and let me know if you have